Do you think it's a good move to dodge the would you ban abortion at 9 months question? Democrats never answer it, and I feel like it's better just concede that non-medically necessary abortion should have some limit. It's it's like asking. The problem is that if you know anything about abortion, or if you know anything about pregnancy, or if you know anything about women, legal for people to turn penises inside out. It's such an uncomputable question. It's such a bizarre, crazy world question that hello? I don't know. People say my YouTube stream is cut, but my data is fine. It's such a bizarro question that nobody is getting a 9th month abortion. That is an insane proposition. So the idea that you'd make it illegal, the only people that are getting 9th month abortions are people that are probably having some type of severe medical issue. So there's like, it's just such a nonsense, stupid point to bring up. Like, even engaging with it is so incredibly retarded. Like, you're buying into the stupidest framework possible when you're like, okay, well, fuck, we should make it illegal. Like nobody is getting a 9th month abortion. It's incredibly. Like, I'm pretty sure this YouTube comment is trolling, but the guy in that one space I was in, Destiny, every woman automatically knows she's pregnant at like 5 weeks or something. Yeah, it's like, obviously this is not, I don't know if that guy was trolling or not though, but. So what's the problem with saying no except for medical issues? I mean, that's basically, I'm pretty sure that's already what the stance is. But it's like, that. I think that's in practice, that's already what it is. Why not just say 9 month abortions happen only when the mother's life is at risk and move on? That's pretty much what they say. But you have to understand that when you ask that question, you are signaling, and I think probably women that hear it know, and anybody that's been involved in a birthing process knows, when you hear that question, you already know how retarded. And if anything, they should just answer the same way they are, so the conservatives keep asking it, so they can keep signaling how retarded they are when it comes to pregnancy or childbirth or anything related to that. Let them ask. Like, 9 month abortions? Are you insane? I don't know anything about this, so maybe I'm missing something, but it sounds like you agree that 9 month abortion is crazy and shouldn't be done unless medically necessary. Just because something doesn't happen frequently doesn't mean it shouldn't be outlawed if it's wrong. It just sounds like a little legal hole to patch up. My guess is going to be that in most states you probably can't opt, even with Roe or Casey. I'd have to go and look it up, I guess. My guess is you can't just do 9 month abortions. That'd be my guess, that they probably just deliver the baby early or something in general. But you can't engage with somebody asking that question in good faith. You would just never cede any ground ever, because the person asking it is retarded and they're not looking for a genuine concession. There is not a single conservative debater ever where if they say, what about 9 month abortions? And you go, oh, okay, we'll just make 9 month abortions banned. Are you okay with it now? They're never agreeing. You've moved exactly 0% of Republicans into the pro-choice camp. Now, none will move. It's never worth making that concession. It's not worth it. You don't engage with them seriously. You just don't engage with them. Where did that come from? The 9 month thing? Like, was it completely made up, or did they hear something and twist it to sound worse? It's just the meme is Democrats like kill babies. This was a talking point way back in the Obama years and earlier. It's just the idea that Democrats just want to like murder babies, and so 9 month abortions and babies on tables being executed via guillotine in the ICU or whatever that's just the big thing that conservatives love to talk about. It's just retarded. Is it fair to subtract 9 million from Biden's job growth numbers because we were down 9 million jobs from the pandemic when he came into office? I get why it's misleading to say that Biden made those 9 million jobs, but also it's misleading to just completely disregard the recovery of those jobs. Honestly, like, job growth and all of that is kind of bullshit numbers. When everybody uses them, it's bullshit. Can you really take credit for, growing that many jobs when you're coming in and like the economy's completely destroyed? Like, in a way, no, not really. But also, you have to keep in mind that you're getting so many other negatives from coming into a destroyed economy that, yeah, why wouldn't you take credit for it? Because nobody's going to say like, oh, well, look at all the inflation that's happening. Yeah, okay, there's a worldwide epidemic or pandemic that was going on, and now we have to do a ton of stimulus to recover the economy. So if you're going to make me take fault for the fucking inflation, well, then you better believe I'm going to take credit for the job growth, because that's why I incurred the inflation. If you would like, I could have just kept the jobs at fucking nothing and did no stimulus and watched us go to a fucking recession. But then you'd be blaming me for the recession, and you wouldn't be giving me credit for the lack of inflation. So fuck you, yeah. So yeah, I think you take credit for all of it, yeah. How do you retain your knowledge while researching without flashcards or drills? I think because I have a conceptual basis for things, I build things out of like kind of skeleton frameworks. It helps me remember things better because they kind of like plug into each other, and it helps me keep things straight that way. So even if I forget a particular fact or a particular thing, I can kind of guess, because I know how it all kind of like slots in, if that makes sense. If you remember just discrete things, they're harder to remember. So for instance, if I were to redo like the world's countries, I'd probably get like a 60 or 70% now, because I haven't done them in a long time and I don't know the countries in like in a conceptual way. I just kind of memorize them. But if you ask me stuff about history of like Israel and Palestine, then I can usually figure things out just because I understand like the timelines of everything and where stuff kind of slotted in. At Destiny, Shapiro correctly defines inflation as too much money chasing too few goods. Deficit spending is a part of that, but weren't Trump tariffs a major element of the supply side problem? A major element? I don't know if they were a major element. I know that they'll drive prices up a bit. I think the broadest definition of inflation is just when prices go up on things. I feel like it has to be that broad, because there are a ton of different things that can cause inflation. It's not just like too much money chasing too few goods. Although I guess theoretically it could be. I feel like that's a little reductive. But there's a lot of things that could cause inflation. I guess you can always say that. Too much money chasing too few. I feel like that could define everything, but there's a lot of things that could play into inflating prices on things. Ethan Klein has never heard of historical analysis. Do Americans actually know why bin Laden did all that, or do they all believe he hated that they can vote or something? He did quite literally hate Americans because they could vote and had freedoms. He specifically states in his writings the reasons: homosexuality, lack of Sharia law, drug use, lending of money, and letting Jews run the country. Please read his writings for regurgitating tanky talking points and running defense for a mass murdering, homophobic, anti-Semitic piece of shit. Bin Laden, anyone trying to rewrite history? True. This guy's name is Comrade? Oh, he's a nobody. Who cares? Then quoting the letter. Okay. Is this really Hasan's editor? Quotations from Chairman Mao Zedong. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's last name. Is it Zedong? You've seen his videos before? Maybe. Okay, so apparently you have to do like therapy sessions, or you have to have like a meeting every 3 months, or maybe this guy requires it to make sure you're not dying or something if you're on a schedule. I think it's Schedule 1. Is it a Schedule 1 drug? So usually I'll show up and I'll say, "Yep, nothing to talk about." He'll be like, "Cool." I'm like, "Cool." Is it worth it to ask him and talk about me having potentially autism so that I can get like a diagnosis for autism? Would that allow me to say retarded, and then I could tell you guys not to say it, but I would get to say it, and then no one else on the internet can get mad at me for it? Am I allowed to do that? Like, I've never been like evaluated for it before, but what if he evaluates me and he does? He's like, "Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, I think you're probably autistic." Then I would be allowed to say it. I would have the pass for it, right? I need the retard card. Do you think you help autism? I don't think so, but I don't know. Probably not. But it doesn't hurt to ask, right? Do you just like weird textures and smells? Yes, actually. I have a huge thing for like fingernails across a chalkboard and like things that smell like dog shit. So I think that's kind of like autism, right?